Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk to the founder of one of the top legal recruiting firms in the state of Texas. His story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
Started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, we've all heard of medical recruiting firms. We've heard of technology recruiting firms. I had not heard of legal recruiting firms, but it makes a lot of sense. Lawyers seem to be jumping ship from one firm to the other all the time, and sometimes it is a guy like the guy sitting next to me who helps that happen. Stewart Wessel with the Wessel Group. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, I want to hear your journey. How did it start out for you? When did you discover legal as a specialty?
So right out of school, I started sales, and I've been doing sales ever since. I was at a crossroads in my career. I had a friend who was a legal recruiter, because I had never heard of it either. And he was starting his own company and asked me if I wanted to come along and learn, and he was looking for someone to work with. So I started there. He taught me the ropes, and I went out on my own a few years ago.
And you were telling me before we went on that when you started your firm in 2012, it wasn't that crowded, but it's starting to get crowded.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement in the market, so there's actually quite a bit of competition. I'm not hoping for a little slowdown, but hopefully with the slowdown will come some reduction in competition, and those of us that survive will be the competent ones. That's the goal.
Absolutely. I want to put up on the screen your website and just scroll down the website, because it looks like you do a lot of things for law firms. Give me an example of a typical firm and what you would provide for them.
Yeah, so typically what I'll do is I have clients. The clients come to me and say, hey, we have this specific need. I try to focus on partners and practice groups. So if they're looking for a real estate attorney here in Dallas where they need some depth for their practice group in that space for the firm, I then come up with a short list and go over it with them, and then start reaching out to folks that they have identified as people that they'd like to talk to.
Sure, and I'd love to hear the kind of the mindset of today's young lawyer, because I think probably 20, 30 years ago, the idea was you start at the bottom at a firm and you stay there for 30 years and you eventually work yourself up to partner. That doesn't happen that much anymore, does it?
No, that is the exception rather than the rule. Most of the time, folks will start out. Usually, there are folks that stay at the same place and become partner and very successful. But a lot of times they'll move in at the 2 to 3 year mark. They're either it's not a good cultural fit, or they're trying to get a step up in platform, more sophisticated work, that sort of thing. And a bump in compensation. And then usually there's another move at the 4 to 6 year spot. And usually they're trying to accomplish, maybe they found out they're not going to make partner at their firm they're currently at, or they're looking for a space that can give them some rate relief, or there's a lot of different reasons. But typically those are the first 2 areas. Some skip the second and third year and move at the 4 to 6 year. So as they start going out and developing their own business, what they're trying to do, perhaps their current platform, the rate structure just doesn't support and they're getting some pushback from their clients, so they need to get to a more rate-friendly firm. Or maybe their clients are bigger, so they want to go out and they want to kind of get to a larger platform so they can support their clients in a better way. So there's a few different reasons. And then throughout their career, I try to focus later in the career when they're partners and they have business. And then there are similar reasons why they might want to look at a different opportunity.
Sure. We've got some video from our generic video library firm. So this is just a random video of legal work. Are there specialties that are in hot demand right now?
Yes. Well, over the past couple of years, corporate M&A, capital markets, private equity has been a big deal. Through the pandemic, a lot of business owners are like, I'm done with this. So they're exiting. And as a result, there's been a ton of merger and acquisition activity. So that's been really hot. Real estate has been really hot. Commercial, people restructuring their leases and doing different things just because of the pandemic and the change in the way people work and want to work. Folks want to work at home, so there's a hybrid model, so they don't need all that office space. So they're reworking those deals. All kinds of those would have been the past couple of years been the top.
Right.
I think in 2023 we're going to see, and based on what I'm reading, we're going to see a lot of an increase in litigation need, as well as bankruptcy is going to become, unfortunately, more and more prevalent.
Sure. Would you say it's a candidate's market right now, or does the law firm have the upper hand?
I would say over the past couple of years, it's been a candidate's market. Firms are bumping up their compensation. Large firms are bumping them up. And what's happened is, as the top firms bump their compensation up and their demand goes up, they're stealing from the firms a level below, who are stealing from the level below, who are stealing from the level below. And a lot of smaller firms have really struggled to find good people to stay and work in their firm. So,
on this show, Stewart, I've interviewed some technology recruiters who say the challenge for them is when they're trying to contact a candidate, this candidate's being inundated with LinkedIn requests and phone calls. And so it's almost like they've been a victim of too many telemarketers. Are you facing the same thing with other recruiters kind of like blowing up their LinkedIn inbox?
Yes, I would say a lot of attorneys are getting inundated. There's quite a few that get inundated all the time. What's happened is, because there's been so much movement, there's been a lot of people, and honestly, a lot of them are blanket emailing out to all kinds of attorneys, just hoping to find something and a candidate that's interested, and then they go and do what they do and move that attorney. I take a little bit of a different approach. I try to work with the client and find out what they're looking for and kind of qualify who I'm going after. That way, when I'm reaching out to folks, I'm not just cold calling. I have a true need for a client.
Sure, and I know integrity is a big thing for you, and you don't last for a decade in any business if you are just getting any warm body to fill a seat. So to really serve your clients, you have to tailor the client or the customer to the client, right?
Absolutely. It's really important to know the legal market, what the strengths and the weaknesses of the different platforms are in the market. To understand where they fit. You don't want to go to a candidate, an attorney, and promise them the moon when that's really not realistic. But you also don't want to sell them short and get them to waste their time talking to a firm that just wouldn't be a good fit.
Yeah. Stewart, I can see why you're so successful. Any final thoughts? What would you like to leave people with?
Let's see. I would say if you're unhappy, open-minded, and are looking for another opportunity, I'd love to talk to you. If you're a partner with business, There's a lot of great firms out there that have great cultures that are looking for you, and I know who they are. Give me a call.
Outstanding. Stewart, thanks for coming on the show. We're going to end with the website, which is the Wessel Group. thewessel.group.
That's right.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.